Hi friends, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter and my lovely co-host Pickle. And if you're new here and you haven't met Pickle, she is one of my 4 miniature dachshunds. She's the baby of the family, and she occasionally gives kisses and she co-hosts with me. She also watches all the movies with me, so she's pretty critical. So if a movie is Pickle approved, you're going to see an icon up in the corner that she has approved this movie, Pickle approved movie. And what I have for you today are summer-themed horror movies. And before I get into this list, I just want to say that what I always say, my typical disclaimer with horror, I give a very wide berth. I go really easy on horror movies. They tend to be campy and cheesy, and you know how horror is. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's fun. But these are all horror movies that I feel have a summer vibe to them, be it, the camp counselors, vacation thing. You get it. You know what summer horror is. So we're going to start off with some obvious choices, and then we'll get into the main stack. Of course, I'm going to have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in here, the OG. Nothing says summer horror like a trip to the Sawyer house in the middle of summer, and this is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, give it a look, put it on your list. It changed. It's one of those influential films that changed the face of horror. So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Of course, I'm going to have Jaws on here. I mean, I know some people will argue this is not horror. I believe it's straight up horror. So I keep it with my horror collection, and I am a huge Jaws fan. Always have been, always will be, and it always goes with my summer horror collection. So, now this last one, the reason I left it for the last of the obvious choices is because the next 2 films kind of came in the wake of this one, and Pickle's gonna sit down here. They came in the wake of this one because it has such an impact on the slasher genre, and it is of course the original Friday the 13th from 1980. This is a classic summer camp, summer horror slasher film. You can't get more campier. I know people argue now that it is not a great film. It's not the best film. I just love this. This has so much nostalgia for me. I watch it every summer. And I would argue that this one, and I would say the first 2 are very, very summer horror themed, summer camp themed. So if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, the first one, get on it. I know pretty much everyone has. But if you're younger and you haven't seen it, this is a great way to, get your feet wet into summer horror. So Friday the 13th, part 1, and probably part 2, I would say really fit that summer slasher criteria. Now, in the wake of the success of Friday the 13th, we have things like Madman. And this is the Vinegar Syndrome release. I haven't watched this copy yet, but I have another one. It may be Scream Factory. I forget who put it out. But what this is we have a group of teens. They're camp counselors, of course. They're sitting around a fire, and they find out about this guy, Madman Mars, who comes out and he kills people. But the only way he's going to show up is if you say his name, and you say his name a certain amount of times, and he shows up. And of course, what do? They say his name. But Madman is a ton of fun, and I can't wait to sit down and see what Vinegar Syndrome has done with this one. Yeah, it's a Vinegar Syndrome one. It's not a partner label one. They always do a fantastic job on their restoration. So if you haven't seen Madman, put it on your list. Like I said, these, a couple of these, they're cheesy fun. A lot of them are probably in the B movie category, but it's summer horror. It's just meant to be fun. So check out Madman if you haven't seen it. Same thing for this next one. And correct me if I'm wrong. I think this was a Trauma title. I'm not 100% sure, but it's called Just Before Dawn. This is definitely something I would categorize as like a B summer horror movie. Again, it's a machete wielding slasher who's chasing these unsuspecting campers, hikers through the woods. These guys, I think there's 5 of them, 5 friends. Yeah, 5 friends set out for a weekend camping trip. Everyone warns them not to go because there's supposedly these horrible things that happen. So what happens? We have our friend here who terrorizes them. But, like I said, these are all, I would say, categorized in like the B slasher horror movies. So before you go out and buy them, maybe try to stream them. Look on Shudder, Tubi, places like that before you go and invest them, because they may not be something that you would personally watch more than once. I watch them all the time, but B horror is a tough sell, and this would be one of them. But I think it's a lot of fun. Now this one is part of the Criterion Collection, and I love this. And if you are a horror thriller fan and you want something like a dark comedy, I would definitely put this one on your list for the upcoming sale. It's spine number 975. It's from 1997. It's 109 minutes in color, and it is in German with English subtitles, and it is Funny Games. I have talked about this one before. I think this is a brilliant dark comedy, horror, thriller type of thing. We have this gated community where people spend their summer vacation, so summer horror. And there's this one family who's approached by alleged neighbors who want to borrow some eggs, and then they see golf clubs, and before you know it, they're in the house and they are holding this family hostage. It has everything in it. They break the fourth wall. There's some dark comedy. There's some really tough scenes. They really terrorize this family, but it's a really, really good movie. I have not seen the remake of this, but I love the original. And if you want a good movie to put on your list for the upcoming Criterion sale, definitely put up Funny Games, take a look at it, give it a watch some trailers, read up on it, and see if it's for you. But I really, really love this one, and I watched it again and again. Now this one is, I believe, yes, this is in Korean. It's from Bong Joon-ho, who is best known usually for Parasite and Memories of Murder, The Mother, things like that. But this is his movie, The Host. Yes, it's The Host. I always get confused. Is it Host or The Host? It's The Host. And I put this one in summer horror because it takes place on a lake, and we have families picnicking on the side of the lake, and that kind of reminds me of like summer activities. So I put The Host in with summer horror. We have this creature that comes down, grabs a little girl, and then everyone is looking for the little girl. But this is a really fun creature feature, summer/horror film. I would definitely check this one out if you don't mind the Korean with English subtitles. Just have fun with it. It's a blast, and I love The Host. I watch it again and again. And this is another one that I've talked about over and over, but I think it's fantastic. I want to see, I can't remember. Now, I watch it all the time, I say, and which is true, but I can't remember if it is a subtitled film. Well, this is this one is in this is a German edition, but it's Eden Lake. And again, I feel that this is a summer type horror film because we have a couple that decides to go camping, and they want to camp at this area that's going to be turned into some sort of developed into something where they're unable to camp in the future. So they want to take their last big weekend and camp. And what happens is these unruly teens are kind of down the way from them, down the beach from them. They're kind of on a lake, and they're down a ways from them, and they absolutely terrorize this couple like you've never seen before. This is a really tough watch, Eden Lake, at times. It's really, really brutal. But just to be forewarned. But if you haven't seen it, I say give it a look. Everything for this one, to me, the ending is everything. Everything is wrapped up in the ending. It's unbelievable. So I think Eden Lake is a winner. Do your homework before you watch it. If you're a little like this with some things, you might want to proceed with caution, but I think this is fantastic. I've heard people say they watched it once and they wouldn't watch it again. I'm fine with watching it again, but go at your own pace. So Eden Lake would be another one I would recommend. And keeping in the spirit with Jaws, I mean, what's better than a bunch of piranhas, right? Piranha. I love Piranha. The 4K looks fantastic. This is the 4K Blu-ray edition, collector's edition from Shout Studios, formerly Scream Factory. But I love Piranha, and I mean, what more can be said? We have piranha in the water with people. Carnage. That's what's going to happen. But this is a blast. It's fun. I watch it every summer. Now this is one that I know a lot of people have brought up in past videos asking me, do I like it? Where is it? Here it is. The Descent. We have a summer vacation, like a trip with a bunch of gals, and they want to go kind of like cave diving into these areas where it's not really recommended that they go. They kind of don't know what they're getting into, and when they get down there, it is not good. This is such a great movie. It's very claustrophobic. It's very dark. It's very creepy. It's very scary. It's unnerving. But I love The Descent, and I watch it every summer. This, to me, is a summer movie because you have the group of friends. They're on vacation. They're going out to do something fun, and it just turns horrible. But if you haven't seen The Descent, put it on your list. It's a winner. And Pickle wants to come up and say hello for a minute, so she's going to say hello. She's getting a little antsy, so we might we might take a little break here and put her down on her bed so she can take a break. She's very tired. She was running through the hose, so they were having fun running through the hose. Now this next one, I mean, this is a no-brainer. If you haven't seen it, in the comments, don't spoil the ending, because the ending is everything with this one too. So for folks who haven't seen it, you have to put this one on your list. It's Sleepaway Camp. This one is from, I mean, it's just, yeah, it's from 1983, and it's 83? Yes, 83. My eyes are going. 1983, and this is just like an 80s time capsule, from the clothes to the sayings to everything. You have a group of people that are at summer camp. We have our main gal here who is, she was orphaned due to an accident at the beginning of the movie where her father was killed. And she is sent to live with her aunt, who sends her and her cousin to summer camp. And she's kind of tortured and picked on and bullied at the camp, and her cousin is sticking up for her. And all of a sudden people start to go missing, and we have a hunt to figure out where these kids are, what's happening, who's behind it. And all I can say is just watch it. Don't spoil it in the comments, because this is a winner, and everyone should have the first time sleepaway camp, the first time sleepaway camp experience, because it's a banger. All right, I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to put her in her bed, and I will be right back. Okay, friends, I'm back, and my friend is napping. So we're going to let her relax while I finish out this list. And this next one, you know, we love our shark movies, right? All times of the year, we love our shark movies. Some of them are really, really bad. I think this one is good. It stars Blake Lively, and it's called The Shallows. And I love this slipcover where it turns from water to blood. I just love this slipcover. I believe this is the 4K. Yeah, this is the 4K, but I use the Blu-ray slipcover because the 4K slipcover was so hard to come by. But we have this gal, her name is Nancy, and she takes off to this secluded beach because she's dealing with some grief issues, some loss issues, and all she wants to do is surf. She wants to get her head together and surf. And while she's there and she's at this very desolate location, a shark shows up and she is trapped out in the water, and it's a fight for survival. I thought this was really, really good. The cinematography is beautiful. It's a beautiful looking movie. Is it the best movie ever? No, but I mean, none of these are. These are just fun summer movies. And this one definitely gives me summer vibes with the surfing and the beach and whatnot. But there's also that isolation and dread, and how are you going to get back to shore and survive this shark that's just terrorizing her? Fun fact, Blake Lively, who's absolutely fantastic in this, was pregnant while filming this one, which I thought was an interesting little bit of movie trivia. But if you haven't seen The Shallows, give it a look. It's not bad. It's not one of those bad shark movies. I think this one is really good. So take a look at The Shallows. And this next one, this one is, I just think this is a lot of fun. Again, is it the best movie? No, but it's a giant, I believe, crocodile. It's a giant 30-foot prehistoric crocodile, and it's called Lake Placid. And I just love this movie. It says, have a relaxing vacation at Lake Placid. So this crocodile is terrorizing everyone. Betty White's in this one, and if you know, you know. But this is just a really fun one. And if you like creature feature and you like things that take place on the lake and you know, that type of vibe, you're going to have a blast with Lake Placid if you haven't seen it. Definitely just put it on your watch list. It's a lot of fun. Maybe you can stream it somewhere. But I do watch this one on the regular during the summer. I think it's a lot of fun, and it fits my criteria for summer horror. So Lake Placid had to be on my list. And of course, I would be remiss if this one wasn't on here. It's good old Cropsy in The Burning. And basically, we have a guy who young people had played a terrible prank on him that went wrong, leaving him horribly disfigured. And he is now in the area seeking revenge on anyone who comes there. And that's all I'm going to say. This one is a tough watch in spots. As you can imagine, if you look at that cover, it's a notorious cover. I mean, we've seen this image over and over again if you've, if you've seen the cover of The Burning, but that is the image that we always know and associate with this movie. But Cropsy's a badass, and he's not happy. So definitely put this one on your list. It's a lot of fun, fits the summer slasher criteria, and it's a good one. I love this one. It's just a little creepy because, well, I'm not even going to say. Just watch it. It's fun. And this next one, this is a little lighter fare for friends who maybe want more like a thriller type of a thing, but it's still, I think it's solid. I think this one gets looked over a lot, but I think it's a solid movie, and it's Disturbia. I believe this one is PG-13, which is why probably a lot of people pass on it, but it's really not a bad thing. We have a very young Shia LaBeouf, and he is on house arrest, but he's bored. He's in his room. He's looking out his window. He's watching his neighbors, and he believes that one of his neighbors is a killer, and he becomes obsessed with it. And that is the focus of how he spends his time once he starts to get curious about what this neighbor is up to. And again, I really think this is one of those that is often overlooked, maybe a little underrated, but I think this deserves more attention. And don't let the PG-13 thing kind of like throw you off. I think this is well worth a look. And like I said, it's a little lighter fare for our friends who maybe don't like a whole lot of gore and things like that. I think this is one that anyone could watch and enjoy, even a younger crowd. So really, really fun. Disturbia, always on my summer watch list. And here's one that I think this one is, I would say this one definitely falls into the cheesy fun category. I know it's not the best film, but it's such a summer horror film. And I watch it in this 4K, looks phenomenal for this one and the sequel, and it is I Know What You Did Last Summer. Is it the greatest film? No. But is it fun? Yes. Heck yes. It's a lot of fun. And what we have is we have a group of kids, teens, they're getting ready to go off to college. They're having their last summer fun, going to parties, drinking. They're driving home one night, something happens, and they hit someone, a person, in the road. And they make the mistake of trying to cover it up, and they decide they're going to keep the secret, and of course things never work out like they're supposed to, and they are now being chased by a person in like a fisherman's outfit with the slicker and the hat with like a gaff hook, and it gets wild. But I think this is a lot of fun. I think it's perfect for summer. I watch it every summer. The second one, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Not as much of a summer vibe, more of a vacation vibe, but I really do go for this one every summer. And like I said, the 4K looks phenomenal on both of these. The transfer's flawless, so really, really good. Definitely put it on your list. And this one, of course, Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes. I mean, what screams summer vacation gone wrong more than this one? We have a family who's out, they're going on an RV trip, and their RV breaks down in the desert, and they are being hunted by our friends on the cover. And this is just one of my go-tos every year. I have loved this film forever, and it has to be on my summer watch list for summer horror. So if you haven't seen The Hills Have Eyes, there's also a remake. There's the original and the remake. Watch them both. They're both good. And this one, I put this one in summer horror because it takes place in a summer town, and it's Stephen King's The Mist. And I know we were talking about this a lot during the year because it's such a stellar release. This is a beautiful 4K release with both a color and black and white edition, which is really cool. I know a lot of people have a hard time with this one because the ending is a bit of a gut punch. I will admit that. But I still think it's worth a watch. We have this family who is at their summer home, and there's been a terrible storm, and this mist is coming in, but it appears that there is something in the mist. There's something going on that's in the mist. It's very dangerous. It's killing people, and what ends up happening is some of our people go to town and they get trapped in a food store and a grocery store, like the local convenience grocery store. And what we really see is it's really a deep dive into human behavior. Like, how do we react when we're in these stressful situations where we all have to kind of either band together to survive, or there's certain ones that try to go rogue and take everyone else with them and go against the grain. And it's really a look at how humanity reacts in these stressful, life-threatening situations. But it's a really deep movie if you watch it over and over again. But I think The Mist is a winner based on a Stephen King novel, and I just think it's fantastic. It's one of my favorites, so The Mist had to be on my list. Now this one freaks me out. I have not seen all of these. I've seen the first few. I don't know if it's technically summer, but it feels like summer because of where they are. The weather is summer-like, and they're on vacation. It's the Wrong Turn series. This terrifies me. This is like my worst nightmare, being stuck on the side of the road, which is what happens. There's this group of friends, they're on vacation. They take this road and their car breaks down, and the next thing you know, some of them go for help, and it's broad daylight and they are being shot at with like arrows by people in the woods that they cannot see. This is my ultimate nightmare, just being trapped somewhere. I don't know where I am, and there's people coming at us from all directions, and I have no idea where they are, what they're doing, where they're coming from, and how to get away. You can't, how are you going to hide in the daylight? Wrong Turn. I've seen the first 3, and I think parts of the other ones, but I say go with the first 2. Highly recommend these if you can stand it. It is very gory. There's a lot of gore in these, so proceed with caution if that's not your thing. But Wrong Turn, whew, this one gets me every time, or the ones that I've seen anyway. And then I just have 3 more. Now this first set, this is these are a little tough for me to watch. I have the set. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I have a hard time with these, but some people love these, so I wanted to include it on the list. And it is the Hostel movies, 1, 2, and 3. I've only seen 1. I haven't been able to watch 2 and 3, but we have these friends that go on a summer vacation, and what they're going to do is they want to travel through Europe, and they end up staying in these hostels, and they actually end up being taken to these places where they are used for people to be able to pay money to torture them. So there is a lot of torture that goes on in this. There's a lot of gore. It's a very tough watch. If that is not your thing, go the other way. Steer clear of these. Do not watch. Just full stop. Do not watch. If you're okay with that, the Hostel movies would be something that would be appropriate to put on your summer watch list for horror. Some people really enjoy these. I'm like this. Sometimes I'm okay with it. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes it's just too much for me. But if this is your thing, definitely check out Hostel. And this next one, I'm not sure if it's technically summer when this takes place, but I think it is. So I just put it on here because anything that involves a cabin to me is just summer unless there's a snowstorm. But it's the original Evil Dead. So I had to put this on here. We have a group of friends. They go, they're renting this cabin. They're going to hang out there. They find the book. And the book releases these demonic things, these spirits that you don't want let out. And if you've seen the movie, we all know what happens from there. But this is just one of those films. Yes, is it a B film? I think it's a B film. But it really opened the door for other things to come after it. And I think this is just one of those films that you have to watch every now and again. And it's a good one. It's a classic. How can you not have Evil Dead on one of your lists, one of your horror watch list? So I put it on the summer one just in case. I think it's a summer movie, so let's go with Evil Dead. And this last one is, I think it's a love it or hate it from what I've seen. It seems to be a little more divisive than what I originally thought it was, but I really love this one. I just think it was released in the wrong order, and I'm going to explain that. I've said it before. But with Maxine coming out and us seeing the trailer, I figured what a great time to revisit X. And what we have is a group of young people who rent a cabin on a farm that is owned by an elderly couple. And what the couple doesn't know is that they've rented it to shoot an X-rated film, an adult film. And things kind of get weird, things happen, and I'm not going to get into it. But what I think about this is it's definitely a time capsule. It's got that 70s vibe. It's got that summer vibe, campy. You have the cabin, you have the lake, you have the farm. The whole thing, it's definitely a summer vibe film. Now, I think part of the issue with this film is they also released after this, as you know, Pearl, which was the prequel. I think when you watch Pearl, X becomes a completely different movie and it's more understandable what's going on. I think they released it in the wrong order. I think it should have been Pearl, X, and then whatever Maxine's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be related. I haven't watched the trailer. I don't do trailers. But I think if you watch Pearl and then you watch X, you have a whole different experience. I know I did, and X makes a heck of a lot more sense. But either way you do it, just watch X and watch Pearl too. It's a lot of fun. So Mia Goth is fantastic, and I just saw an article where they call her the new Scream Queen. Could it be? Sure, why not? So X is my last summer film, summer horror film. And these are just a few. I mean, I could have gone on and on and on, but I didn't want to keep you here all day. And maybe we can do a part 2 of this. If you enjoyed this, please let me know, what are your summer horror film favorites? Tell me in the comments, because maybe it's something I haven't seen, maybe it's something I haven't thought of. So I always look for your recommendations in the comments. And speaking of comments, I know I'm behind on the comment section. I am catching up. But I want to thank you as always for watching. You know I appreciate each and every one of you taking time to click on these videos and enjoy them, hopefully, and maybe you got a few films to add to your summer watch list. So if you enjoy things like this, film recommendations, collection updates, movie hauls, which I have one coming up very soon, room tour, which is in the works. If you enjoy anything physical media, please consider subscribing and hit the bell notification so you know when I upload again. And that's going to be real soon. Like I said, I have my May haul coming up, so you have that to look forward to. And that's going to do it for me today. I'm going to take my little friend upstairs so she can play with her sisters, maybe nap a little more, maybe run through the hose more. So I'm going to catch you in the next one, which will be real soon. And for today, that's a wrap.